My slide skills improved when I began mixing more fretted notes into my playing, and the slide became more of an extension rather than a limitation. And in this lesson, we're going to cover examples from the piece that you just heard to help you blend fretted notes into your slide playing for that sweet, expressive sound. Premium members have access to part 2, where we dig into how to connect different positions on the fretboard in Open G. Plus, you'll have access to PDF, Guitar Pro tab files, and the Sound Slice interactive tab player. Plus, you'll also have access to the entire library of premium lessons, a library that's growing strong every single week. So definitely check it out. If you're not already a member, you can find out how to become a member at the link in the description. But now let's get on with the lesson. First thing is we got to get into Open G tuning. If you're coming from standard, you're going to take your 6th string down a step down to D, right? And you can use your 4th string to give you that reference pitch to do it. Then your 5th string is going to go down from A, a full step, down to G. You can use your 3rd string if you're in standard already to do that. That's a good reference pitch, right? And then the 2nd string stays the same, and the 1st string is a D as well. That's going to come down a step, so we can use the 4th string as our reference pitch there. So from low to high, we have D, G, D again, G again, B, and D. Big open D major chord. Let's take a look at the main riff behind the example piece at the beginning of this video. And this is an exercise in fretting more and bringing the slide on just to kind of embellish something and add something a little bit different to the part. Let's get into it. All right, so we are basing our riff around this G7 chord shape. And for those of you that play with the slide on your ring finger, don't worry, I've got you covered. We're gonna handle that in just a second. But this is the chord. It's a G7, there's the bass, which is a G, that's the open 5th string. We're gonna thump that throughout this. Here's the F, that's the flat 7, giving us the dominant 7th sound. The B is on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, and then the D here on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. All right, so 3 of the tones from the G7 chord, add the bass, we get a really cool voicing of G7. And this chord is really the heart of what we're doing here. And we are going to embellish it a little bit by dropping down a half step below and sliding in with all 3 strings there. All right, but to get to the structure of this, we start with the bass, which is going to thump throughout, right? And then an open string brush up. So your hand can be off the fretboard here, but get ready, get close, because we're going to come down. And I'm using my fingers here to just kind of, my fingernails to just kind of like scratch through the chord almost. That's the move. And I'm also palming the guitar a little bit to choke the strings out. After that, there's a very quick pump on the 5th string bass, just open with a little palm mute on it. And then that's where I slide in. All right, from here, bass, top string, and then this little tag ending that features the slide. We go 4th string at the F note there on the 3rd fret, which we already had in place with our chord, right? Then open, and then up to the G note on the 5th fret of the 4th string. So just practice that. Make sure you can move from fretting into a slide note, right? That's kind of the point here. What this riff is hopefully going to help you get better at is switching between fret, slide, fret, slide, bringing it on for just the one note here. Now, a couple things about that note. You want to slide into it to make sure everyone knows you're using a slide, right? You could just, mimic fretting it by not sliding, but I like to scoop into it, gives it a little bluesier sound, and then add some vibrato there. And then, of course, start looping this around. But now, if you play with your slide on your ring finger, then you'll have to modify this chord. I'm going to remove the slide completely so we can see how to play this chord if you're a ring finger slider. You're going to take this shape, because obviously you need this finger, which has a slide on it. So we're going to take this and move it into a bar across strings 4, 3, and 2 at the 3rd fret. And then you can use your middle finger to play the B note on the 3rd string, 4th fret. So this is the shape. And of course, you can do this if you're using your pinky as well, but this is a common shape for me and a common way a common fingering for it. So I'm going to play it like this when I play the slide with my pinky finger, but this gets the same tones at play here. And you can play this with your slide on your ring finger. Right? Everything is the same. You just got to remember that this is now, there we go, a bar chord version. A little small bar across 3 string. So this riff is really fun to play, and it definitely will test your ability to come off of some fretted notes and just land solidly with the slide. This is an easy point to, get sloppy, right? You're used to playing the fret, and you're going to find yourself maybe landing with the wrong amount of pressure, and some extra noises might happen. This is a great riff to test that ability to come on to the guitar with a slide with the right amount of pressure. And if you need some help with that, definitely check out my 5 simple steps to clean slide playing. It will help you get the feel that you need to play clean notes on the guitar while wearing a slide. But now what I want to do is shift away from just playing that one single note. And let's take a look at one of the licks that I played kind of as a little free-flowing intro to the main jam that features fretted notes a whole lot. Let's dive into that. All right, there's a lot of fretted notes worked in with a lot of slide notes here in this lick. And this happened at the intro, kind of a free-form intro, and it was happening over the C chord. So let's map it out on the fretboard, and I'll give you some practice tips to help get this down and really work on the ability to switch between the slide and the fretted note. So I'm sliding into the 10th fret. That's a C note, 10th fret, 4th string. And then the E flat, 3rd string, 8th fret, up to the F on the 3rd string as well. That's at the 10th fret. And then you'll see me slide into the 11th fret to get that real blues note in there, the blue note. And then I'm just working my way back down the 3rd string with the slide. And the 8th fret, that's the only note here that gets the fretted note, the E flat. All right, so we could even just stop the lick right here, and we've got enough to talk about. I would recommend, if you're new to this idea of working the slide into your playing, start with this little bit to practice it. Slide up from the 10th to the 11th, back down to the 10th, and then switch to the fretted. To me, it's much easier to go from the slide to the fretted, because you're just picking up the slide, getting it out of the way, but coming back on is where you need to already have the muscle memory and have practiced that perfectly light touch with the slide. So practice this little sequence of notes in reverse. Even just do that. Just sort of end solidly with that fretted note. But I want you to practice being able to come back on with the slide. So spend a minute practicing that touch and getting that touch right from the 10th fret, say, down to the 8th. Just go back and forth, and then you can flesh out the full lick. And that's the heart of it. We dressed it up a little bit in the jam, but this is the part that I really love you to work on, because I think it can help you build the skill of switching between slide and fretted notes. If you learned something from this lesson, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Sure helps me out. And if you want to go deeper and grab the additional lesson materials like tabs, the slow pace tutorial, join BGI at the link right over here. I hope to see you inside my BGI. Until then, practice smart and play on.